get to stamp and colour. How exciting. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with the leaves. So on my acrylic block here, I have 3 of the leaves, 2 of the standalone and this little cluster, because I have a few different tips for you. So grab your amalgam ink and the vellum, and I'm going to be very light because, as I mentioned, these are super juicy when you start out, just like this. There we go. Okay, so again, we're on vellum, and I'm just going to use half because tomorrow we'll do flower buds on the other half. Okay, and if you want to use more, you can, but I'm just going to conserve. And I'm going to use the heat tool because on vellum it does take a little bit longer to dry. So just to speed up the process, let's heat dry. And you know it's dry when it turns matte. All right, so this kind of looks good. All right, like this. So you can see I just put my fingers over it. I kind of did hold my breath slightly. Anyway, let's go for our things. I always like to put my colours in the appropriate order, and I try to have them facing me or in some kind of order. Greg laughs that I like any kind of order. But anyway, the reason I'm working on vellum is because it's going to give you a little bit more time, as I mentioned, to play with your colours, and it acts a little bit more like a UPO or a non-porous surface, so it gives you time to reactivate your colours as well. And I'm only working on the white here because I have my glass mat underneath, so of course you can see these colours a little bit more. So we're going to use the same process, although it's not quite as necessary on vellum. So we're going to colour in the whole leaf, just like this. And you're always going to use the same approach. Now, there was one tip I wanted to mention to you for anyone who has Copics or maybe something a little bit more juicy. And your ink is more likely to react on vellum. So if you're having any issues, you can always heat emboss it or add embossing powder to it, like a clear or whatever, and then you won't have so many issues on the vellum. But I don't tend to have issues with amalgam, but top tip. So if you have a super juicy marker, if you take both lids off, happens more with Copics or maybe a Spectrum Noir, something refillable. It equalizes the pressure inside, and you'll find that it doesn't drip on you. So particularly with Copics, when you refill them or it's new, I have had it where they've gone splotch on my project, and that's been the end of it. But if you always remember to take both caps off, that won't happen to you. So another top tip in there for you. Okay. Then we're going to go to our mid shade, and we're going to add some texture in. Now, I can't do this light source business or thinking about where do I add this based on my lights coming from this direction and blah, 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 blah. What I tend to do is I look for the cues that the artist gives me. So lots of artists will add cross hatching or different textures in there. So with this leaf in particular, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all of my texture from the base. And you see how I'm flicking my pen in here. So this is where I'm doing it. This is where I'm adding my texture, and I might just add a little bit, so small flicks in the top. So I'm just leaving that mid space open, and I'm definitely going to make that bit darker here. And then I'm going to take my lightest shade, and I'm going to go in the middle here, and I'm going to even those colors out. Okay, and this leaf is going to look super wet and really cool. And then I'm going to add flicks again, darkest color, tiny bit in the top, a little bit underneath. Mid shade is this one. Even it out, even it out. And when we get to real cardstock in a couple of days, you'll see it even more. But I really just want you to practice on the vellum. And you're actually going to get a different effect, and it's going to look super cool. So see how this leaf looks? Looks really, really cool. And if I do the same on, let me start with my light here. So I'm going to start again with my light. So you're going to colour the whole leaf in with your lightest shade. Let me turn this around because being a lefty, it's a little bit harder. So you're going to colour in your whole leaf. Then you're going to take your mid shade, and we're going to flick up. And probably a smidge down. kind of like that. So I've just kind of left this little oval in the middle open. And then I'm going to take my lightest shade and I'm going to even out that oval a little bit, just like that. As I say, the technique on vellum looks a little bit different, but it does look super cool. And then I'm going to add my darkest shade. Kind of around the outside on this one, just kind of making it look bulbous. But when we get to doing it on paper, I'll show you some of those cues that we really look for adding colour. But on this one, it kind of pigments a little bit because of the non-porous surface, and it gives us little watermarks. So it's naturally going to give you all of that colour and you don't have to think about it. So if you really don't know where to put your different shades, vellum is great because it does it all for you. You just kind of add the dots and it does all kind of the marks for you. Now on a smaller leaf like this, which is why I wanted to show you, it's even easier because you literally go in with your one colour, just like this. So I've added my one colour. Then I'd probably go in with my mid shade and I just add tiny dots where the kind of stem comes in like this. And then maybe, and I'm saying maybe, I'd add just almost like a full stop or a period, depending on where you're from, like that. And that's it, I'm done. That's how easy that would be. So that's what I want you to do today, is just go ahead, colour in 2 or 3 leaves like this and practice. And you'll see the vellum really gives you a helping hand. So when you're starting out with alcohol markers, that's why I want you to practice working on the vellum, because it does a lot of the work for you. And tomorrow we're going to do buds on vellum. And then the next day we're going to have a live check-in together. So we're going to come together live in the Facebook group and we're just going to chat about the course, how you're getting on so far, any questions you've got before we move on to working on cardstock. So I'll see you tomorrow. As always, don't forget to take a picture. Go and check in on the Facebook group, add any questions, concerns, things that you found great, things that you found easy. Tell us those as well. We love to hear your success stories too. Check in over there. I can't wait to see you. See you again tomorrow, everyone, so we colour some blooms. See you then. Bye.